Welcome to Learning to Glow, a show about wellness, skin health, and self-development. I'm your host, Jess. I'm a mom, entrepreneur, and skincare expert. I'm so excited to share tips on how to achieve healthy skin and bring amazing guests in the field of health, fitness, aging gracefully, and personal growth. Let's explore all different ways we can take care of ourselves as women, both inside and out, to truly shine. So let's get glowing. Hello, everyone. I'm so glad you're here with me today. We have an amazing episode with Kayla Johnson, who's a fitness expert. She turned the challenges of COVID into an opportunity to reinvent both her business and her personal life, and she shares that story with us today on the show. In this episode, we talk about how the pandemic became a powerful catalyst for change, and it sparked the creation of her new business. She was the owner of a spin studio for a really long time, and now she helps women over the age of 35 navigate the changes that we experience when it comes to midlife. And I know a lot of you listening are going to be able to relate to this. I sure did. We went down memory lane a little bit, talking about just our experiences as women growing up in the 80s and 90s and, what that looked like and how some of those things have stuck with us for, not the good of our brains and our health. So in this episode, we talk about navigating the unexpected pivots of midlife, the role of foundational nutrition and wellness, which I loved. That was my favorite part of the conversation. And also how community fuels success in our fitness. We talked about group fitness and just exercise in general. So cardio versus strength training and some tips for as we navigate this time in our lives, what we can do better, what we can tweak. She has over 30 years of experience in this industry, and she brought a lot of great advice for us. Anyone who's listening who wants to make a positive change with their health, this is a great episode for you. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. I loved chatting with Kayla. She's amazing. I will make sure to link her information in the show notes so you can make it easy if you want to go and check her out. She's on Instagram and she also has a website. Thank you guys again for being here. Please share this with someone. I'm always so grateful when you guys share this episode that you like or, the show in general with a friend. That is so helpful. And don't forget to leave a 5-star review if you haven't already. I appreciate you guys and enjoy this episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show today. We have Kayla Johnson with us. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here with us.
I am so happy to be here. Thank you for having me, Jess.
You're so welcome. You are a fitness expert, but I'm going to let you give us a little introduction of what you do and who you serve, and then we will get into fitness and all the good stuff today.
Okay, awesome. Sounds good. Do you want the long version or the short version?
I like the long version personally.
Okay. Yes, I would be happy to. So again, thank you for having me. I'm specializing in perimenopause. So I'm working with exclusively with women 35 and over. But my journey did not start there because I started in the industry when I was 18. So needless to say, I was not thinking about midlife. I was a dancer my whole life. And I went from dancing to step aerobics, basically. You're probably way too young for step aerobics.
No, I'm not. No, I took step aerobics in high school. So yeah.
Oh, you did? How old are you?
I'm almost 48.
You're almost 48?
Yes.
I literally thought you were in your late 20s, early 30s.
Oh my God, I love you.
Age. Wow, I'm 49.
Wow. We're similar. Yes.
So young. That's
Thank
amazing.
You.
When we're done, I want all of your beauty secrets. We don't have to do that on air right now, but I would like your beauty secrets.
You got it.
Very aware of step aerobics. Oh my goodness. I love it. Okay. So that's really where my journey started. I fell in love with the industry. I really fell in love with the community that gets built around fitness. It's so addicting. I think every friendship that I've ever fostered has been because of fitness. So I had two major pivots in my life. My first pivot was I moved to Santa Barbara. So I'm in Santa Barbara right now, Santa Barbara, California. I moved here 18 years ago and I was divorced 5 months after moving. So let's see, I had a 4, 7, and 9-year-old. So I found myself as a single mom in paradise, which is expensive to live in paradise. And I thought, all right, well, here we go. So I really came into this industry 18 years ago, full gusto, out of necessity, out of need, because I needed to support myself and support my children. And so Kayla Johnson Fitness was literally born 18 years ago and trekking right along. I owned, operated, and sold 4 businesses. So I just sold, I'm a bit of a serial entrepreneur, if you will, but I sold my last business, which was my spin studio, which I was really proud of. I owned that for 6 years and I was able to sell that. Actually, I just closed escrow last month. So I was able to sell that to a 30-year-old, which is a much more appropriate owner considering I'm, knocking on 50's door this year. So anyway, so I've done that. It's been an amazing ride. I've loved it. The second pivot was COVID. And I think that that is probably familiar to a lot of your listeners. I think there were a lot of pivots during COVID. And for me, it was a very unsuspecting pivot because I was 44 years old and right smack dab in the middle of midlife and had no idea. And it was very discovered by the chaos of what was happening around us, right? So I'm remarried of almost 11 years and we have 6 kids. So with the exception of one, we had to circle the wagons and bring 5 of those kids home. So it was fun, but it was chaotic, right? There was a lot of TikToks being filmed in our house. And I was a small business owner just trying to survive. And I was dragging my spin bikes in and out of my studio, and I was fighting with the district attorney, and I was fighting with the neighbors because we were riding our spin bikes in the courtyard because that's what we had to do to stay open. And the neighbors hated us. You know the stories. Like it just went on and on and on. And it was really an awful time. I felt upside down. We were eating more, we were drinking more, we were completely off of schedule, obviously. And I had so much stress trying to survive. My spin studio had only been open for 1 year up to that point. So it was just really stressful just trying to stay afloat. And I was in perimenopause feeling all of those things, but it was completely masked by what was happening in the world. And to be clear, perimenopause was for old people. And I was clearly not an old person at 44. Like, what the hell was happening? So I just honestly, 5 years ago, couldn't define the word perimenopause. I had no idea what it meant. Growing up, and maybe you can relate to this, nobody was talking to me in my household about any of these things. We weren't talking about sex. We sure as hell weren't talking about perimenopause. So there was just this real gap of education. And I think a lot of women can relate to that. There has just been such a lack of education for all of us. So when it smacks you upside the head, you're like, hold on a second, what is happening? So it was really in that suffering where my creativity came from. And that's just my personality. That's the entrepreneur in me. It sounds poetic looking back in hindsight. It was not poetic at the time. I was upside down. I was miserable. I wasn't sleeping. I was so crabby. I was gaining weight, all the things that we experience in perimenopause. But I just felt super lost. So once I figured out, I had a suspicion that that's potentially what was happening with me. I just started talking to friends. Isn't that kind of what we do? We just start talking to the women around us who maybe are a tiny bit older or just have some clue. And that also for me came with trepidation because I'm in the industry and I'm the expert, and the majority of the people in my life with 100% certainty come to me for the answers. And I found myself in this space of not knowing where to turn next and not realizing that I needed some support. So it was in the depths of that despair that I realized, okay, hold on a second. I'm going to figure this out. And when I figure this out, this is where I'm going. I spent 28 years in the industry up until that point. And it was just this it was just this knowing that where I was exactly where I was supposed to be. Again, it wasn't that poetic, but it was just a feeling. But the second part of what happened is our whole world went to Zoom, right? I'm a bricks and mortar girl, and our entire world went to Zoom. So even we were doing spin classes on Zoom for people who were going to grab bikes and put them in their home. So like my private clientele all went to Zoom. And so again, I had this like, whoa, wait a second. I never even thought of talking to somebody in a different state or a different city, let alone a different country, about wellness and fitness. It just didn't even cross my radar. And it was really interesting to me because the whole world had changed in that moment, right? March 2020, the whole world had changed, and it's like the rules had changed. So I don't know, it just felt like this time of reinvention. So it was really, and I do feel, just for a quick moment, I do feel super fortunate that I have a silver lining of COVID. I think so many people it just didn't turn out that way. It was a really, really hard time. And there was a lot of struggles and a lot of loss. And I look back on that and I think, thank God that, I had an entire pivot in my life, and so that's what I do now. It's like, I cannot get to women fast enough. It is one of the craziest things. So what I did is I was like, well, we have some extra time. And I have access to people, right? So I grabbed all the women, not all of them, but I had over 500 members. So I grabbed a lot of women and I said, okay, listen, I need you to talk to me. What's going on? Like, I think a lot of us just suffer in silence and we're not communicating how we're feeling. And so it was, I don't even have to tell you, it was the same thing. Belly fat, fat in weird places, not sleeping, super irritable, hair falling out, achy joints, brain fog. Like it just came up over and over and over and over again. And I was like, okay, I'm totally on to something. I don't know how I'm going to fix it yet, but I'm on to something. And so I developed the Kayla Johnson Fitness 90-day accountability program. It didn't start there. It started as a 30-day program. So I was doing a lot of market research and beta testing. I'd grab women for 30 days. And then I realized this is crazy. We're scratching the surface in 30 days. How am I going to eradicate diet culture in 30 days, right? We got a lot of brain surgery to do, and 30 days isn't going to cut it. So 90 days really seems to be the sweet spot with women. And it's so, I mean, I'm in the people business and people everywhere. Okay. So like it is my life's work. This is it. This is my life's work. It is so challenging and so rewarding to see women through this phase of life, because we really do have to redirect and rethink how we approach our wellness. What worked in our 20s and 30s, it just doesn't work anymore. And you really have to take a step back and zoom out and really figure out how to get to that place of kind of like reinvention. And anyway, and that's what I've done. That's what I've created. So I'm like, listen, I've already figured it out. I've cracked the code. All you have to do is be coachable. And it really starts with just meeting women where they are, right? Just meeting them where they are. Are they on the couch? Are they already doing,
Yeah.
they're already excessively exercising like I was because they're desperate to hold on? Like just really figuring out where women are and restructure. So where I'm an expert is I'm a lifestyle expert. I'm really peeling back the layers of the onion. I'm setting them up for success, from nutrition to workouts, all the things, and making it work for them, which is why it works, right? We're not cookie cutters. I think we've all figured out that like the diet culture is dead. It's not working for any of us. Okay. But I also have a team of experts. So I've got physicians and nurse practitioners in case we need lab tests, in case we want to do a Dutch test, in case we want to incorporate GLP-1 peptides. So I've got kind of a cool team of people that I work with to really be a one-stop shop for women. Okay, there was the long version. How was it?
I asked for it, and it's amazing. It's so funny. After having this podcast, I've heard a lot of stories like with aspects of what you're telling me with the COVID, where it's
Mhm.
like we have to pivot and figure out how we're what's the new normal. And I'm so happy that for you, you were able. It's like what a blessing, Then looking back on it, of course, in the moment, like you said, it was not like that. You didn't
Mhm.
feel that way, but looking back to see how that door closed and this new life and new program and new ways to help women has been able to be born. So, and one thing that I really love too is that you mentioned how we just aren't talked to about this
Mhm.
period in our life, like these years of perimenopause and going up, working into menopause, and how that is just like you just get there. And it's, if it wasn't for my podcast and the guest experts that have come on, like that's been such a help because I didn't know.
Yeah.
And now being in it, it's like, okay, now I have some tools. But when you first started talking to your women, you had these 500 women that you were talking with, what were some of the biggest challenges that they had at the time that you just saw consistently, and like multiple areas of these women? Like what was the biggest pain point that you were hearing about?
Yeah, absolutely. Weight gain.
Yeah.
Weight gain in a way that was so infuriating because nobody was really changing what they were doing. Okay, so I want to clarify. This wasn't like March 2020. This was like a year and a half to almost 2 years. So it's like we had recalibrated a bit. And I needed that recalibration as well. So that what I'm just saying that to say that it's not like it was July of 2020 and the wheels were still off and everybody was still, just kind of like a free for all. A lot of time had passed where this was
Mhm.
kind of like the new normal. We were all just kind of going through and people were getting back into the routines, whatever that looked like, right? I think that's an important point to make because a lot of us were off routines during COVID. I've met very few people that use COVID for good towards
Right.
fitness goals. Usually went the other direction. So that was it. It was like, well, hold on. I'm doing all the same things that I've always done. And all of a sudden, the scale is up 10 pounds. I don't like bathroom scales, by the way, but I'm just using it as an example. Like my clothes are fitting snugger. They might still be fitting,
Mhm.
but they're not fitting the way that they used to fit. And like, I got this one all the time, and I still do, like an overall puffiness, just like I call it a perimenopause sweater, just like an overall puffiness. The brain fog.
Mm.
I mean, I don't have a great memory as is. I'm a bit obsessed with brain health, and that's why, because I don't really have a great memory. I feel like when I sit with my best friends from high school, they're telling me stories about somebody else. I'm like, Are you sure I was there? They're like, yeah, we have pictures. We're sure you were there. So, but like, just like, you know how it is, like walking into a room and just being like, I know I came in here for a reason. I mean, it's going to sit here until I can figure it out. I mean, it's just, I think anyone in perimenopause, I mean, I'm on hormones and I still can walk into a room and not know why I walked into the room. I just need a second. I'll figure it out, but I need a second. I need to retrace my steps. Um, Hair falling out, not sleeping. Honestly, even with all of the craziness, I'm a great sleeper. And I'm somebody who does not, thank God, deal with any kind of anxiety. I'm just not an anxious person. It's like, okay, Sarah, it'll work out. I'm not that laissez-faire, but I wish I was, but I just don't have anxiety. So I would wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning on the nose, 2:55, 3:03, ruminating about nonsense, absolute nonsense. And that was the thing. I was like, this is absolutely, because it happened day after day after day after day. And I'm like, this really is not normal. Like this is something that is so uncharacteristic for me. So that was a big one as well. Yeah, I think for me, it was just like cellulite in the weirdest places. I was like, is there a reason why I need to have cellulite on my kneecaps now? So is there, is somebody playing a joke on me, or like, I mean, and I'm the girl, just speaking personally, who does everything. I mean, you aren't going to find somebody who walks their talk more than me. I absolutely lead from the front. I have led from the front since I was little. And my mom was reminding me of that. She's like, I was talking to her on the phone on Sunday and she's like, I'm so proud of you, just like watching all the things that you're doing. She goes, when you were 4 years old and you were a dancer, she said, they always put you in the front and center and just said, follow Kayla. And I thought
Oh,
that was so sweet. I was like, thank you for that. I didn't know that, but thank you for that. That feels so good. But like, yeah, I have an infrared sauna in my backyard. I have a cold plunge. I'm married to somebody who loves and embraces fitness just like I do. Like we rarely drink alcohol. We prioritize protein, fiber. I've got the damn weighted vest. I wear the Aura ring to monitor my sleep now. It's like and so when you're doing all the things and the wheels are falling off, that's a pretty terrible place to be. Would you agree?
oh,
It's
it's
just
so frustrating.
so frustrating. Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
I
that was like those 5 or 6 things, just like on repeat, on repeat.
you look like you walk the talk. Let me tell you,
Well,
you
thank you.
you really do. It's pretty obvious when you see you. But it's so funny with the brain fog. I was making breakfast on Sunday. This is so embarrassing, but I'll share it. I had like my flour was low, so I got out the replacement one. I brought both of them out. I needed more flour because I knew I was running low in the first bag. I threw the bag away and then I was like, I went back to the cabinet to look for the flour. It took me 10 minutes. I looked in every pantry. I'm like, where? I know I have another one. And then I went back to the counter where I was making waffles and it was just sitting there.
Sitting there.
It was there. It was like there the whole time. And I was like, what in the hell? I just
Yep.
spent 10 minutes looking for this bag it couldn't have been any clearer. And it's like, that does happen. And I know a lot of my friends, like you said, you talk to your girlfriends and you say, are you experiencing this? And
Mhm.
what are you going through? What's difficult for you? And I talk to a lot of women and they say the same thing. That's something that is so frustrating. I think the weight gain is frustrating. And as we also kind of start doing this, okay, well, the weight has come on. I'm going to start doing the things that I know have worked in the past. And
Mhm.
wait, like it's not working. So, maybe it's our metabolism, our energy is down. So where do you start with your clients? Like if they're coming to you with like
Mhm.
this, I love the menopause sweater. That's such a great term.
Yeah.
Where do you start? Because this is everything that you mentioned. Yes, I mean this is the same thing I hear from my girlfriends and things that I've experienced. And what we have been doing isn't working anymore. So where do we
Mhm.
go?
Yeah. Well, I start with the foundation. And it's really important that when you grab a client, you know exactly where they are and where they've been, right? Where they've been. And you're not going to build a house on sand. So my work is very, very foundational.
Mhm.
And we go back to the basics of nutrition. But that takes a lot of work. That sounds like a really basic statement, but we are of the diet culture. If you were in the 80s and 90s, you experienced it. I mean, I lived with women who were always on a diet. I would steal my mom's diet candy from under her bed. They were in and out of Weight Watchers. I have I've always worked for my fitness, but I've never really struggled. But to be clear, I've always worked for it. Like I've never stepped away from it, but I've never struggled until perimenopause. It's like
Mhm.
never been a leveling of the playing field like perimenopause, right? So just really giving women that base of we got to go back to whole foods. And if you've been in that diet culture, foods, protein bars, protein cookies, protein shakes, and listen, I like protein shakes. I just want you to drink the right ones. So really getting women to eat whole foods. You would be amazed getting a woman to eat whole milk yogurt versus non-fat yogurt. It's wild. And I'm like, you have to, if you see non-fat or low fat, you have to replace those words with toxic.
Mhm.
Like that has been ultra processed in order for that fat that's fine, that's good for you to come out of that product. So it's a lot of reworking how we're thinking and reminding them like, hey, listen, you've been stuck. So we can't do the same things over and over again, right? We have to rework this, but it's a lot. I do a lot of mindset work with women and just reminding them like we have to go back to the basics. And what I do is so simple. It feels like, how could this possibly work? This is so simple. She wants me to eat single ingredient foods. I'm like, yeah. And then this is the question I love. What's off limits? I'm like, nothing. There's no diet, there's no restriction, there's no list of approved foods. I mean, the world is full of propaganda, and I feel terrible for people because they have to, especially women in perimenopause, because it just gets so much more challenging because we have this whole hormonal thing to keep, in check while we're figuring all this out. And they're just fed so much nonsense, macro calculators, and just the next gimmicky workout that's going to be the answer. Everyone's looking for the answer. And so I really bring it back down to the basics. So we go into fundamental nutrition. We food journal, not forever, but we do in the beginning. I always let them know, like, listen, what we track, we can measure. What we measure, we can change. So we have to find out like what you're doing. And then from there we build. And I tell them like, I'm not going to take things away from you. I'm just going to add some things in. So it's just this like fine tuning. The goal is for me to be a last stop. And that's what I tell women. I'm your last stop. You're never going to do anything again because you're going to understand food. You're going to understand hormones. But more importantly, you're going to understand how they work for you. And that's the difference, is having something that is so customized to you and how your body works. And then from a workout perspective, I mean, I'm yelling from the rooftops, you have to lift heavy shit. I don't know how else to say it. I'm like, your 5-pound dumbbells are just not cutting it. Like we have got to start lifting heavy, but I have to work really hard over time, dispelling myths. No, you're not going to get bulky. I
Yeah.
like, it's a constant reframe and a reteach. So taking somebody off the couch is my favorite. Like they're easier. I don't have to undo, right?
Yeah.
So I just teach them from the basics, and I just lean into what people have. So I leaned into COVID, and I thought, okay, well, during COVID, everybody grabbed something. They grabbed a medicine ball, they grabbed a kettlebell, they grabbed a set of dumbbells, they grabbed something. And so I just work with what they have and let it evolve. But letting women know, like, your muscle is your retirement account. It is gold, and we have to protect it. And if it's never too late to start. So let's get going. Let's get
I
going.
love that. I really love that what you said earlier, and I think I would like to talk a little bit more about fitness too,
Yeah.
right now, and the exercise part, because meeting people where they're at is so important too. And I've seen people get influenced. You're watching
Yeah.
Instagram, and you're like, okay, like this woman to look like that, she's doing like 5 days a week,
Yep.
and they go from, like you said, the couch to this extreme workout, and that lasts a couple of weeks, and then they give up. I
Yep.
remember, like, I had this random memory today pop up, so I'll share it. But when the very first time I went to the gym, I signed up for 24-hour fitness, and I think I was like 21, and they gave at the time 3 personal training sessions. And so I signed up for one because I was like, okay, good. I'll learn how to
Yeah.
move around in the gym. It's great. And I remember it was a woman, and we were the weights were upstairs, and she's like, okay, let's go upstairs. And I started walking upstairs, and she turned around and looked at me and yelled at me. And she was like, what do you mean? What are you doing walking? And I was like, oh shit. And so I had to run up the stairs, and she proceeded to give me the hardest workout. I threw up. I had to
You
leave.
did.
I
Oh,
left the workout.
it was like badge of honor, right?
Oh my God. And then like the next morning I couldn't get out of bed. I was like, could she have like done a little less aggressive for my
Point
first time?
it down just a little bit for the new 21-year-old who just came walking in.
Like, I've never lifted a weight in my life. But that was just like a funny memory that came up to me.
Yes.
I think that a lot of people, women we've talked about this on my podcast. It's like, okay, I need to lose weight, so I need to just do cardio. And there is that deeply rooted belief that weights are going to make us look a certain way, a negative way. And I really don't think the education has been there, because now we know, I mean, and if you don't know, the information is coming out more and more about how we lose muscle as we
Yes.
get into our 40s, and that just keeps going. So what you said about it being our retirement, like, it's so true. And
Mhm.
it gives you some motivation to incorporate it and not just looking good. So when you have someone and you're trying to figure out what their fitness program can be, and you want them to start lifting, do you have, I mean, and I know you are customizing this, but what's a general rule of thumb for somebody like who wants to start lifting, who is in perimenopause and wants to like work on that aspect of this health journey?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I actually get this question a lot, and so I'm so glad that you're asking me because again, and the reason why I get this question a lot is because there's confusion. There's absolute confusion. And this is one person's opinion, but I would like to preface this with I come from a very common sense, very researched, okay, very researched approach. I'm just going to use me as an example and then I'll tell you how I approach it. I'm in recovery, okay? I am a cardio addict and I will probably spend my life in recovery. Okay, you feel me on that?
Yeah, definitely.
I think the infrared sauna, just a little tip, I think the infrared sauna really helps because it gives you the ability to get that crazy sweat that we crave that's non-stress. So anyway, just a side tip. I didn't even realize it when my husband bought it for us that like it was going to fill that part of my soul.
Oh, wow. I love the sauna so much. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's
So just
amazing.
like I realized I'm like, oh, that gives me that same feedback, if you
Yeah.
will, for lack of a better word, without having to do the soul crushing workout. Okay. So, I mean, I just sold my spin studio. Does that tell you how I feel about cardio? I was
Yeah.
a kickboxing instructor for over 25 years. I mean, I've done it all. I've done every modality of fitness and really a self-proclaimed addict. And someday I'll start a recovery group because I think that we probably need one. But really explaining to women that we've got, if you're doing a spin class or if you're running, I get this one a lot as well, 5 to 6 days a week to burn calories to be thin, right? Let that sit for a second. To burn calories to be thin is the wrong road. That is diet culture. That is propaganda. That is old information that needs to be addressed. And we are stressing our bodies. We're absolutely stressing our bodies. So what I prescribe, going back to your question, is we got to get into the weights. And Pilates and yoga, no, they are not weights. And that's a heartbreaking conversation I have to have with many. I love Pilates and yoga. Let's talk about Pilates in particular. Amazing for body awareness, amazing for form. So when you're in the weight room, you're like connected
Mm.
to your body. So good for, I mean, I'm a ballerina. Like I speak that language. Okay. I don't want to be in a bar class ever again in my entire life. I'm like, they just made this a work. They made the torture of ballet an actual workout class for men. I'm out. Getting another minute at the ballet bar. Sorry. So I like those things. They're fine, but they don't take the place. They're not in lieu of weight training. So I never take those things away from women. Okay. And I say, okay, we've just got to incorporate doing some weight training and we've got to step, we've got to walk. And I felt the same way about walking. That was for old people. When we were younger, we all saw, I am now that couple. Okay. You could set a clock to it almost. My husband and I, like on the patrol in the neighborhood. I'm like, there's Mike and Kayla. There they are. But like, that's what you got to do. And sometimes I'm in a weighted vest and sometimes I'm not. And the other thing that I tell women is I said, okay, listen, it depends on what kind of a conversation you want to have with me. Do you want to talk about maximizing fat burning? Do you want to talk about protecting your hormones and aging gracefully? Okay, if that's the conversation we're going to have, this is what I'm prescribing. Or do you want to have a conversation about joy? Because I should probably not be writing in my spin studio. It's not mine anymore, but I'm still there as much as I do. But can I even begin to explain the amount of joy that comes from that 45-minute candlelit, super loud music, crazy people experience? I mean, it's 6.5 years and counting, and I literally can't get enough of it. So there is something called joy, but I'm not doing it because I think I'm in fat burning. I'm not doing it because sweating is my fat crying. Okay. We've got to like rewrite the script. It's like, no. And I get it. That's what we've been taught. It's part of the diet culture. It's what we've been taught. We've been indoctrinated. And so peeling that back for women, do you see why women who are on the couch are so much easier? It's like, let's go. Let's move, right? They're so much easier than someone like me.
Yeah.
I gotta be taught all the new things. So I really like, because I've lived it, I'm so patient. I have clients all the time are like, thanks for being patient. I'm like, oh girl, are you kidding me? I've screwed this thing up so many times. Like, who cares, right? We're on this journey till we're dead. Like, that's the other thing about, where we are in our wellness journey. Like, you're on this journey forever. This is, you don't ever hang it up, right? You don't stop brushing your teeth. Like, you're on this.
But you evolve and you learn, and
Absolutely evolve. You have to evolve. And that's life.
yeah,
That's if COVID taught us that, you better evolve. Like life is lifing and we need to evolve. But going back just to the education part of it for just a second, I think that, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I was doing an Instagram live with my favorite OBGYN on Sunday. And she said, Kayla, you and I are boots on the ground. And when she said that, I was like, oh my gosh, you're so right. Yes, we are. It's like we're saving one woman at a time
yeah.
because we do have to evolve. We do have to adapt, and we can absolutely thrive in midlife. At 49, I feel the best I've ever felt. I look the best, in my opinion, that I've ever looked. I'm running circles around 40. I'm running circles around 30. So I'm living proof that it's possible. I'm not special. I mean,
That's
a
yeah,
little bit.
you are special. But I love that about the fitness part, because especially if you grew up 80s, 90s,
Yes.
that was what you did.
Mhm.
And at that time I didn't really care about what my older self was going to deal with. That was for her to like deal with. I'm like,
Absolutely.
it was very like superficial and vanity,
Yes.
and and then I'm like you with like the things that I used to love to do cardio wise. I genuinely loved my cardio group fitness classes, and I had to give up a fitness class because of the time, sleep.
Mm,
This is something that I said this new year. I'm like, this is something that I can't wake up at 4:30 anymore.
mm-mm.
It's too much. It's too much in my body, and it's really affecting so many things in my life. So it's sad. It's like not being able to do that, but realizing what's best for me and doing the fun things. Like you said, I still do Pilates and yoga. But I love to prioritize the weight. That is everything else is like extra.
Yeah,
To
good
me,
for
that's kind of
you.
how I
I
look
love
at
it.
it.
I love it.
I
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I just wanted to echo what you said about sleep. We didn't even talk about that. Like
Yeah.
that word never even came out of my mouth. And I'm so glad that you brought that up because I think I'm getting a sneaky suspicion you're a little bit like me. We're a little type A. And so, because maybe some women are listening, are like 4:30 in the morning, like what's wrong with that girl? But like when you need to get shit done, like you have to get up. This is
Yeah.
the reality. When you have things to do and you've got kids and all the things and you're running a business, right? You're running your podcast, all the things, you have to get up and get after it. But sleep is like, it's paramount, and it's a flip flop because if you are type A and a bit of a driver, it's like that whole sleep when you're dead. It just really elevates stress levels. And my husband and I were just talking about this. The Hatch alarm clock?
Yeah.
Yeah, it changed my world.
Did it?
It's so weird. I mean, they're not sponsoring me. I'm not being paid to say this. I'm just saying, like, and I never talk about them, but like that alarm clock is one of the best things going. It has a sunrise, like all of these different sunrise. I'm not going to go on and on about it, but when we got that, it gave me a moment to reframe how we were doing our mornings. And I'm the girl who gets up at the last minute and throws her clothes on and gets out the door, and realizing how much stress that was creating in my life.
Yeah.
And so at the new year, he bought the Hatch for me for Christmas. And at the new year, I was like, okay, hold on a second. I need to reframe this. This isn't working. Oh my gosh. So just getting up, going to bed sooner,
Yeah.
right? That's a tough one for me, going to bed sooner and getting up. We get in the hot tub, we get in the cold plunge, we have coffee. Like I journal, I get my to-do list going. It has changed. I'm literally in midlife. I mean, am I just boring the hell out of you right now? I'm like, are you
That
listening
you
to
no,
me?
you're speaking my language. I
I mean,
think
I'm like,
there's
this is where this is, and like my eyes are lighting up talking about a hatch alarm. That's where we are, everybody. That's where we are. Kayla's excited over a hatch alarm clock, but it happens to be true. It's about evolution, right? Like, and having that time and feeling rested. I mean, I think sleep for me is something I'm always working on, which is why I invested in the Aura ring. So I could like, all right, what we track, we can measure, what we measure, we can change. And I do know that it's just getting to bed earlier is important. But for anyone listening right now, if you are not prioritizing sleep, it's part of the equation for sure.
I know somebody who is very dedicated to her early morning workouts. So, and she doesn't go to bed early,
Mm-hmm.
and she's having trouble losing weight.
Mm,
And she works out more than anyone I know. There is heavy cardio involved. There are weights as well,
mm,
but it's like 6-7 days most
mm,
weeks.
mhm.
And I wonder, is that weight loss that is not happening for somebody who eats clean, does all the things? Would it would not waking up that early and maybe taking a step back with the cardio actually help lose weight?
Possibly. Only way to figure that out is to experiment,
Yeah,
right? And I have to say, I understand the lack of rest days. I'm
yeah,
still a work in progress. I mean, we all are, right? We all are. We're all a work in progress. We're human. So not I don't feel sane unless I move my body in some way, whether it's lifting heavy stuff or going for a walk on a really high incline if I'm in the gym or going outside and getting fresh air. Like I just don't feel like me, but the rest part's important, which is why the sauna is so cool, right? Like, and there's saunas in everyone's town now, like they're everywhere. You can go pay to sit in saunas, but like that is not a workout, but you've sweat, there's sweat, like you feel like you've done something for your wellness. Yeah, the recovery, it'd be really interesting. You'll have to follow up with me. Are you
yeah.
close enough to her to make a suggestion?
I have made a suggestion. I'm
Yes,
just like, my gut says like
yeah, I'm like killing yourself with cardio, like back it down. I mean, the body is probably stressed and just hanging on.
yeah,
It
I
is
think so.
wild. It's wild what happens to us.
It's very easy to fall in love with the way exercise makes you feel
Mhm.
and the community that you build. And especially if it's a group class setting, you know this with your spin
Yes.
studio,
Yes.
going into a class and seeing people and like it's fun. Like I've
Yes.
always been a group class person. I really, really love it. And I do it less than ever, but I still love it. I'll always like make time to do it a couple days a week. And one other thing I wanted to talk to you about,
Yeah.
because you've mentioned it a few times, is that diet culture mindset.
Mhm. Mhm.
Do a lot of the women that you work with come into your program and working with you have that mindset, or do you think that some of them are just no, they've never been a dieter, they've never had restriction? What's the average person who comes to see you? Is it pretty heavy in the women that you work with?
120%. Is that a thing? Is
Yeah.
120% a thing?
Yeah.
120% of women I talk to.
Ugh.
Because I'm dealing in midlife. Now, listen, I have some younger women right now. I have some women in their 30s and even late 20s, which is so fun because I'm grabbing them before too much corruption happens. But no, everyone has a story. Everyone has a story. Everyone has multiple stories, and you can't escape how you were brought up. It may have been unspoken, but you were still a part of that. I mean, do you remember snack wells?
Yeah.
I mean, think about how much nonsense we ate in packages that we thought was good for us.
Yeah.
Like we have so much gut damage from all of the things that we've done to our bodies with all the fake sugars and all the fake stuff. So really getting women don't trust food. They trust calories and they don't count calories with me. Oof, you want to talk about like having to have a hard conversation when we're talking about like I do one-to-one calls every week with them and they pull out the word calorie and I was like, huh? What? I have to remind them all the time. It is you have to rewire and get them to trust that if they eat a whole milk product, they're not going to get fat. So the word fat is really scary to them. I mean, we talk a lot about macros, right? Macronutrients. And I tell women, first of all, which this is, people are going to want to come after me for this. I say it all the time. There are no such thing as set macros.
Yeah.
It's like not even a thing. I'm so tired of it. It's like not a thing. You should be eating as women. Forget men, they're easy.
Yeah.
As women, we should be eating within our cycle and supporting our hormones with what we're fueling our body. And that's what I teach. Now, an easy macro is protein. That's an easy one to dial in and it does not fluctuate. Okay. Your protein does not fluctuate. And I also work really hard on fiber goals, and that one doesn't fluctuate either. So as our protein comes up, I was noticing with women a long time ago, like, well, we're getting so hyper fixated on protein that the fiber is just out the window. Well, it's
Yeah.
because women are afraid of carbohydrates. So we got to go back to the education that carbohydrates are good for you, not processed foods, but they get lumped into the same category, right? So there's a massive difference between simple carbohydrates and processed carbohydrates and complex carbohydrates. But I am working with women right now who are terrified of fruit. That's diet culture.
Yeah.
Even just that's diet culture, right? If you have, they're considering it sugar. And I mean, it's wild. So 120% of the women I work with.
Because there's always a new fad, right? Like that
Cool. Keto. Look at keto.
keto.
Keto's killing me. It's like, and then you have places, and whatever, we're a consumer society. I don't blame anybody for making money, but like, you take something like ketogenesis, which is science. Okay. It's fat burning. You package it into a diet, which is never intended to do long term. That's a short term stress on the body is fine going into ketogenesis, but it's not doesn't work. It's not sustainable, and it's not good for you. It's just not good for you. And then we package up all this keto food and call it health food at Whole Foods. It's bad. You see how there's just, and women just don't know. They really don't. They're grabbing a keto brownie or a gluten-free crackers, and they think that they are doing well.
Yeah, I know. Go ahead.
When women come to me, they're like, oh no, my eating is great. And we go into food journaling. I'm like, really? Right. But they come by it honestly. Like, yeah, but they're gluten-free. Right. So it's getting women out of a package. I get women feeling so good. Just taking out the nonsense, just weaving it out. And again, none of it's off limits. But it's the things that sneak into that regular daily, weekly occurrence that we're saying to ourselves is health food because it's gluten-free, is where things are getting a little upside down.
It's funny to me because I remember when that gluten-free craze started, and I have a real allergy in my house to gluten.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking, some of this gluten-free food is way worse than the gluten food. Like, there is some real junk food here, and people are thinking they're going for that.
Yes.
And then it's so much more expensive. It's like, I buy it because I have to for my kids, but if you could just have the regular bagel, you may as well. Like, sometimes it gets a little bit worse. Even, it's like, not only is it not a health food, but, and like you said, there's a time and place, and to be completely like, this food is bad, or that macro is bad, is very disordered, and like, not, we need the macros, but when you think, like, it's just over time how different fads have come and gone, and we absorb it. It's like, for us, it was fat free. Like, everything was fat free when I was growing up, and it was like, I had no fat. Like, my brain, how did it work? It was just like, I have no idea. But it's really true that we have to kind of get back to the basics with our food, and like what we're looking at, and not demonize things, because that can really set us back. So is there anything else you want to share with us before we say goodbye, and you share where we can all find you?
Gosh, no, I don't think so. I'm just so glad that we were able to have this conversation. Thank you for having me on. And I hope it was helpful for your listeners, to maybe something clicked, that they could implement into their lives. Again, just like one woman at a time, we just got to help each other through this.
Yeah. Especially during this time.
Oh my gosh, especially. You can find me, Kayla Johnson Fitness, on Instagram, or KaylaJohnsonFitness.com is the best place to find me.
And I'll make sure to link that in the show notes, so it's really easy to just click the link and find you. And you are amazing. I had so much fun recording today. Thank you. Thank you for sharing with us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. Please subscribe and review so we can reach more people who want to learn to glow alongside us. See you next time.